gentlemen, I'd like to welcome Scott Butler to our coffee and chat afternoon.
Hi Wayne, thanks for having me.
Pleasure, mate. Scott is principal of a company called Edge Group. What is Edge Group, Scott?
Effectively, Wayne, Edge Group is realistically a mentoring type service for people who want to have a lifestyle in retirement. We use property purchasing and financing as a vehicle, as well as financial planning, self-managed super funds. Very holistic. We'll make sure people can get through all their retirement goals using specifically real estate as that vehicle.
Right. Okay. So then the Edge Group would be financial planners, and what licenses and qualifications do you have then, Scott?
It's a great question, Wayne. I guess in the traditional sense that we do have one arm, which is the traditional name of financial planners. Traditionally, financial planners do not discuss real estate as an investment asset class. We specifically have a heavy viewpoint that investment in real estate is one of the tools that we would use for retirement. We also have a mortgage lending arm where we have strategic financing ability in relation to credit advice, Wayne, and making sure people can get the products that they need to get the real estate that they need to get the retirement they need.
Right. One of the questions I encourage our clients to ask all of their consultants is, what involvement do you personally have in property?
Do you mean me as an investor?
You as an investor.
It's a great question. A little bit tricky. Didn't see that one coming, Wayne. As an investor, I definitely walk the walk and talk the talk, and I guess my wife and I and my family, we have a multiple property portfolio. We've got a double-digit portfolio. We're very active in the property market. We're very active in purchasing new properties in good growth locations with good long-term fundamentals. We're also very active in developing certain properties, bringing residential properties up to commercial and some of those things. And so, mate, it's been a great journey. We've loved it.
Good. Well, to me, it's important that property is a journey, and you want to be guided by people that have been there before, that are going to show you those pitfalls to avoid.
Absolutely.
So we're not about academics in Active Invest, we're about people that are actually doers. So Scott, it sounds like you're actually out there doing it.
Absolutely, Wayne. And I guess for your viewers out there, if there's one thing that you would take away from today's session is that if there's any advisor or specialist that you're dealing with, I would personally ask them the question of, what do you own? What are you physically doing in property investment at the moment? Ask them questions about themselves and about their portfolio. If the answer is, I'm not, I would question whether that's the right advisor to help you on your wealth creation journey with real estate.
Right.
Doesn't make sense.
The combination of finance broker or mortgage broker,
correct,
and financial planner, that's an interesting combination, because you actually generally would find a finance broker or you find a financial planner. How do you find that those two assist your clients?
We've found that the clients get the best results when every advisor is on the same page, whether that's the finance broker, the financial planner with the retirement strategies in mind, and even the accountants and the real estate advisors and sourcing people as well. If everyone's on the same page, it becomes quite easy for the client to stay true to their plan. The plan becomes very holistic. Everyone can work in the background, and everyone can work with the best interests of the clients, and everyone can work faster, and the client gets the best results.
Yes, you made a very interesting little point there about staying true to the plan. As we all know, life's a pretty, hopefully a long journey, and it's not difficult to get sidetracked into different areas. How much importance do you place on actually having a plan?
If you don't have a plan, then you will not succeed. If you ask every coach, even the first grade football team, the Australian football team has a coach. No matter how good you think you are, you need a coach, and they have a plan, and they practice that plan, and they train that plan, and they're continually updating their knowledge, and they continue reviewing that plan. Just like any business, your property creation and wealth creation journey is a plan, and the business of your life is a plan. If you do not have that plan, then I can guarantee you will fall off. And we have seen it happen time and time again to clients where they've strayed from the plan. We've had to come in and bring them back down and say, look, okay, where did we go wrong? Let's get back on the journey. Let's get back onto the wealth creation. If you ask everyone out there on the street today, they're all property experts. And this is what we find is probably one of the biggest impediments to falling off the plan is listening to, for example, the hairdresser, the taxi driver, talking about real estate or where you should buy or where the next hotspot is, all those sort of things. This noise that gets created out in the marketplace, I would say that is probably the biggest fear for most clients, where they may stray from their plan and they suffer.
Yes, very much so. Let's talk a little bit about finance broking or mortgage broking.
Yes.
What is the first step that you take a client through when they come to you and say, I want you to organise my finances for me? What do you actually do?
It would be very easy to just organise some finance for the property that's in front of them today. We find that's a very short-sighted strategy, and it does not suit the client's best long-term interests. In reality, we need to understand where the client's starting from, what the long-term goals are, and the finance that will suit the property, and also their long-term goals. And because if the client gets into the wrong, loan today, this may stop their momentum moving forward, and they might have some goals where they need to accumulate 5 and 6 and 10 and 20 properties over the next X amount of years. And if we really sort of slow momentum up at the start, we just won't get there. And so our skill set is really looking at their financial snapshot, understanding if there's areas that we can reduce liabilities just by shuffling some things around in a very tax effective way, reducing expensive liabilities with cheaper funding, and then understanding how we move forward into creating the best finance for them moving forward, and also protecting their capital, Wayne, is something. So we really try and stretch their capital out because we have a very big journey coming.
Right. How many clients do you see that actually have some sort of plan or strategy before they come to you?
I would say it's less than 1%. 1% maybe less, and I guess it's a disappointment, but it's also nice for us because we know we can make great outcomes for clients because they've sort of come without any real sort of strategy, and we can put them onto the right path. And we work with them long term. Look, we expect to work with our clients 20 and 30 years, and also their families as well, because some of our clients' plans are to leave some of their real estate portfolio to their children in a legacy type of way, and we'd also get the kids involved with some family investing strategies, and things work really well that way.
Yes, very much so. So the strategy has got to be developed, and then the funding is a secondary process, if you like, to the overall strategy.
Absolutely. If you do it the other way, it won't work.
Yes, and we at activinvest see this regularly, that people will come to us with a finance approval, and we want to buy a property.
Yep.
But if you ask the question of what type of property and what outcome they're looking for, they haven't thought that far ahead to be able to tell you that. And I find that quite interesting, that people find a need to go out and buy a property, but they really don't have any great understanding as to why they need to have that property.
Well, that's something that it's so true, and people will research the type of pet that is going to suit their family and their environment, yet they fail to really research the type of asset, and in this case real estate, and why that's going to suit their family and their environment in the long term for their wealth creation. And it's really about the retirement lifestyle that they're chasing. And we always find it very interesting, somewhere along the line, that education piece, maybe it's from the schools, has been missed out. And I suppose, Wayne, that's really what you guys do, and that's really good. And that's what we also do in conjunction, is we help try and educate these clients into understanding a plan is something that is long term, and a plan is something that needs to be stuck to, and you need your team of advisors around you to make sure that plan keeps working.
Yes, and I'm glad you touched on that, Scott, that there is no one group of people that service a client. There's actually a group of specialists that provide that information to a client. You already have that group of people set up for your clients, don't you?
Absolutely, and this is something that we've developed over years, with a lot of our clients, and we think we have it, absolutely right for what needs to be out in the marketplace today. I suppose one of those things that most people say, well, it doesn't make sense. Why would I have a team? And one analogy we always use is that Bill Gates, who's one of the richest men in the world, can't actually write computer software. What he does is he surrounds himself with very, very smart people and knowledgeable people, and then he just utilises that knowledge to become rich and become wealthy and become, for his retirement and things. And so we're trying to replicate that, and everyone out there should replicate that. And I'd encourage your viewers to think in that mindset that if I'm going to become an investor, it's not a small step, it's a committed step, that I need a team of advisors around me.
Yes. I don't think enough people actually give enough thought to the why. I have a favourite saying that people who know why employ people who know how. So
very good.
Yes. So if you know why you want to invest or why you need a retirement plan, then I think it's fair to say that you can find people who can show you how to achieve that. Would that be a fair statement?
Look, absolutely. Sometimes people come to us and they're not 100% sure of the why, and we discuss about things that their hopes and dreams, I guess, for themselves, but also their family as well. Mm-hmm. When people actually realise that if they don't plan for their retirement, then the default position is basically the age pension, Centrelink, which is actually on the poverty line and almost slightly below the poverty line. When people actually realise that, they understand why. The reason is you have a choice. You have a choice of a comfortable lifestyle, enjoying, the things that our long life is going to now present us. Most people this day are going to live to 95, could be 30 years in retirement, enjoying the grandkids, going overseas, living well, eating nice food, drinking nice wine, Wayne, like I'm sure you'd like to as well. They have that choice, or they have the other choice, whereas the government controls how much money you're going to have, and really that controls your lifestyle. So we want to give people the control back of what their lifestyle is going to be.
Okay, and I dare say that there's no real ideal age that you would like to see people.
When it comes to investing and the way compounding works and the compound growth that you can get, the sooner the better for everyone. And so even for your viewers out there, I would encourage them to start to bring their children, which might be their teenage children, into some of their investment meetings and discussions with people, so they can at least be immersed in what is actually available out in the world and why it's so important to think about, I guess, your future very, very early. I sometimes feel that's been lost. It's definitely been lost in our schools. So it's up to the parents to really take that upon themselves as well.
Yes, very much so. I mean, it used to be the old thing that children should be put into the back room when it comes to the discussions about the family finances and that. But the people that encourage their children to have these conversations, of course, invariably the children are more financial savvy at a much earlier age.
Absolutely, and it's great to see, and we have a saying that real wealth is generational, and so we all might spend some time creating a big bucket of wealth. If we don't educate our children on how it all sort of works, they'll probably spend it, or they'll get it, or they'll lose it to some sort of bad investment advice, or business investment that fails, and so all their hard work could be very much undone. We may still be alive to see that happen, actually, which would be heartbreaking.
Yes, very much so. Now, so how do you link the financial planning? I think you've already touched a bit on this, but what is the importance of the financial planning as against the finance brokering?
It is a good question, and just because the names are very similar, I would feel that some people think they're often the same type of business, and they're definitely not. Financial planning is really about the journey that we're going to go on and the smart things and the levers that you would help the clients pull along the way. Investment decisions, tax minimisation strategies, when is the right time to sell, how is it the right time to structure an asset, for asset protection and also for tax minimisation, where does superannuation and specifically self-managed superannuation come into play. They're all those things that are very long-term strategies. The actual finance broking is really a product of that plan, because the actual correct credit advice or the actual correct loan product needs to actually fit into the correct asset at the right time. And so there is a skill set in that. There's definitely a skill set in that. Where we'd find most brokers would not have that skill in the marketplace is they do not understand the plan. They don't understand the 20-year long plan. They're almost order takers. And so we definitely don't fall into that category.
And really, are finance brokers legally allowed to create financial planning and that for clients?
Absolutely not. No. Finance brokers and mortgage brokers, as they're often called, are allowed to talk about the actual loan products and whether it suits a client's situation or it's not unsuitable, is the term ASIC like to use. They're not legally allowed to discuss a long-term plan about wealth creation with a client. And so that's why they won't get that service at a broker or at a bank as well. And we find a lot of people in that space aren't really investors anyway. They have a job called a mortgage broker. They're not really in that area like we are.
Yes, very much so. Again, really the finance broker performs a function as part of the overall strategy, don't they?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Absolutely. Everything really comes back to the client's long-term plan. How could it not?
Yes. And is it a set and forget process?
Wouldn't that be easy? No. Nothing over 20 years or any sort of financial plan is ever set and forget. It needs to be constantly reviewed. There's changing markets. There's changing family dynamics. There's changing goals. We may reach someone's goals halfway through the plan, and then they say, "Well, let's move to a new set of goals. Let's learn to loftier goals." And so this is a living, breathing type of document, if we could call it a document. And so consistently is changing with the way the world changes.
Yes, and let's not, of course, forget that every year the federal government brings out a budget which has huge ramifications quite often on our strategies.
Absolutely. The government has to do their job and they have to bring out a budget, and there is always some winners and losers in every budget, and our job is to, I guess, dissect the budget apart, understand what it means immediately for investors and people's plans, and then also long term, where would you have to tweak a little bit of the plan to either take advantage of some things that have turned up or just protect against some things that may be changing. And so, as you know, one thing that is probably unpredictable a little bit is the government regulation from things and the tax regulation, and it's our job to be across all of that to make sure that our clients' plans stand up in any regulatory change.
Okay. Now, often finance brokers or mortgage brokers, they get paid an upfront fee by the lender and usually a trailing fee. How do people pay a financial planner?
In the old world of financial planning, investments, we generally managed funds. They were shares, they were superannuation that was owned by a bank, think AMP, MLC, those sort of things. And there used to be built in a set percentage retainer or commission to an advisor. We have not taken on that model. We don't accept any investment commissions from any sort of paper asset that there might be out there. We are a fee for service only, and we feel that's a better outcome for the client. It's more in relation to the quality of the advice that's given, the complexity of advice, but also the level of work involved. And so we would always show that to the client up front and say, for us to be involved with holistically your family's assets, give advice, help manage, help give advice on investments, look after making sure our credit is running as efficiently as it can. This is how much it would cost for a year, and this is how much it would cost ongoing, and are you still happy to continue with us? And we like that very much upfront type of scenario with our client.
Right. So basically, the client knows before they start the journey what your fee is or what their investment is going to be.
Absolutely.
Really, it's an investment in their future to have a good plan and a good strategy worked out for them.
Well, it sounds hackneyed a little bit, Wayne, but I mean it really is an investment in their client's future, and whether they come and be our client and obviously pay that fee for that investment, or they go out and read some sort of books. There's somebody needs to make some investment in their own future. Yes. They just have to. The onus starts with the client. They have to want to invest in their future and their family's future, and it absolutely is. And we would always know up front. We would have a discussion and say, here's what we want to do. Here's what it's going to cost you.
Yes. Okay. Well, Now, for all of our clients out there, and there's many thousands of them, if they wanted to come and have a chat to you, what should they do? How do they get hold of Scott Butler?
Look, for your clients, Wayne, they would be able to find our contact details on your website.
Yep.
You can go through there, and either they can contact you, who will then contact us, or they can come through and find our contact details, come directly to us. As long as everyone reminds us or lets us know or lets our staff know that they're from activinvest, we are waiving that initial discussion, that real sort of fact-find strategy discussion about where the clients actually sit today.
Yes.
And what we find is most clients don't actually have a handle on their real snapshot today, what their financial position means today, and if they remain at the financial position they are and do what they've always done, and they'll get what they always get, and what that's going to mean in their retirement. And so that discussion is what we're offering for your clients today.
So if our clients of activinvest, if they contact myself or Chris Morris, our other consultant, if they contact us and we put them in touch with you, you'll waive that initial consultation fee.
Absolutely, that's the offer we're making to your clients. We're happy to do that.
That's sensational. That is really a very valuable offer to get a plan, or to get the start of a plan, start that conversation with somebody who's actually experienced and is walking the walk. That's just an invaluable tool moving forward, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yes, and very generous, and we appreciate that, Scott. Thank you.
My pleasure.
What I'd like to do, Scott, is finish this little chat right now, but if you're happy to, I'd like to get you back at another time to speak about self-managed super funds, and also a very important topic that I don't think many people actually think about. We think about accumulation, but what we don't think about is what happens when you actually do get to retirement and you have all these assets. You can't physically eat the assets, can you?
No,
You've
you
actually
cannot.
got to start unwinding this process. So what I'd like to do is get you back to talk about a few of these other very specific subjects about what happens when you do get to retirement and you've got these assets accumulated, what you then do to unwind them and realise the cash, and what do you do with it then?
Absolutely, Wayne. Look, and that'd be a great topic, and we're more than happy to come back and chat about that. And just so your viewers understand what you're sort of discussing is, once you're post-retirement age and you have a 20 or 30 property portfolio, that may be a lot of work, and you may actually just want a 10 property portfolio. And so there's a way to wind that down, but there's a bad way to wind it down, where the tax man will take all the cream, or there's an easier and a more strategic way to wind it down, where you get to keep nearly all of the money, and that's what it's all about. And why we're doing this again? It's for that retirement lifestyle.
Yeah. So if you've already accumulated all these properties and you're not actually structured correctly, in the unwinding, you could lose a lot of the benefit.
Absolutely. There's a thing called capital gains tax, and if things aren't structured correctly, or if we're not utilising superannuation in the mix to be able to make concessional contributions, tax deductible contributions to superannuation, the taxman might be your best friend at that time with his hand out, and so that would really be detrimental to our retirement plan. We want to keep all the money we can.
Right. So is this only for people that have 30 properties, or is it? A lot of our investors only ever have one property.
Look, I can guarantee you, if they only ever have one investment property, they're probably ahead of 95% of the nation, and they will be comfortable in retirement.
Right.
Okay. So, but yes, there is the correct time to do that for their plan.
Yes.
There's a correct time to wind down that asset for their situation, and that is different for everyone.
Right. So it's really important that people get this whole plan and structure and that sorted out at the earliest opportunity. Is it too late? I've already got 3, 4, 5 properties. Is it too late to get this sort of thing restructured? Or
no, it's never too late, because if someone says, it's too late, I'm 70, we still expect them to live for another 25 years. It's a long time, and so there is some smart things that can be done in relation to shuffling assets around, some asset protections, utilising superannuation, making things as tax effective as you can to aid your retirement. It really isn't. I guess it sounds hackneyed again, but it's probably never too late.
Right. Okay. Well, Scott, thank you again for your time today, and I look forward to our chat again about those other topics that I've already outlined that I'd love to get some more information on. And probably the thing that I've taken out of this is that that the whole thing about property investing is that it's a group, a specialist group of people that work with our investors to achieve their long-term goals.
Absolutely. Investing is two things, Wayne. Investing is a family sport, and it's also a team sport, and everyone needs to be involved.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Wayne.
Lovely to talk to you again.
Bye.
Thank you.